realizing is that women, especially black women, are a special kind of stupid. Now, I'm told that they're educated far greater than black men, but you have to be crazy to decide I don't need a man. And you know what? I'm still going to have children, but in order to take care of this child, I'm going to go out and work 8 to 10 hours a day. And then when I get home, I'm going to be too tired to actually parent. So I'm going to let my children be raised by TV and social media. And so then you have your daughter thotting on the gram, and then your son being this thug. But hey, I'm educated and I'm smart, and I get to celebrate Mother's Day and Father's Day. No, what you are is an educated fool, because who in their right mind would decide that they want to go against the very nature of a woman and the reason why God put us on this earth?
But I cannot stand when a woman is single and pregnant and she announces it online. There is no sign of the baby daddy. You're a grown-ass woman alone in your maternity pictures. You can't even show who the man is, because most of the time the man is not even your goddamn man. And then here go everybody in the comments. Congratulations. Congratulations? For what? Why do we have these young girls and these women get pregnant in these terrible situations, and instead what we do is we celebrate with baby showers and gender reveals? And the reason why they make these baby showers such these huge deals is because there is no wedding. The baby shower has become the new substitute for a wedding. How are we going to get these girls to understand there's a consequence for their actions when we're throwing them a goddamn party? So many women are victims to their own stupidity.
Hey, yo, black men, what's happening, man? Peace. Now, in this one, you guys just heard that black women talk about the fact that, black women, they must be a special kind of stupid. And it's true, they are. And listen, you guys can say what you want. Oh, bro, you hate black women. Oh, man, all you do is talk about black women, man. You got almost 200 channels talking about, you got almost 200 videos talking about black women, man. Oh, you got self-hatred. Oh, man, you listen, you guys can say whatever you want to say, dude. All right, let's run with the fact that me and other black men who might feel the same way as me, right? Let's say, okay, let's say that we agree to having self-hatred. Once you overcome the self-hatred, now you can talk about the issues. Now you can talk about the problems, because, and this is why I tell black men, you have to move away from the South if you do live in the South. Now, me personally, I went down there for a short time for college. I thought it would have been a good idea just due to black history, learning about the culture, learning about, the history of black people in America, and being the fact that I'm American born, but I am not of FBA descent. So yeah, I wanted to learn more about American black history, because at the end of the day, listen, you American guys are my cousins. You know what I'm saying? We are no different other than the fact of our nationality. We all felt and dealt with the same problems, right? But let's talk about it. The woman was talking about black women are a special kind of stupid, because for a group of women to talk about how I don't need no man, I'm strong and independent, and they talk about being the most educated. Okay, you're not the most educated. We've already proven the fact that every other demographic has more degrees than you. We've proven the fact that every other demographic has less college debt than you, right? We've proven that all you are the most enrolled, and the majority of you that enroll don't even finish. So if you want to compare the stat to only black men, okay, yeah, you can say that you're more educated than black men, but education doesn't equate to common sense, because common sense isn't so common. You would think, right? You would think it makes sense for a woman, excuse me, if you don't have a man if you're not married, right, you would think I shouldn't have a child. I'm not married. I don't have a man in the home or even a man in a relationship with me, but yet I'm having unprotected sex. Yet I'm still going to bring a child into this world without a father, without a stable relationship, without a home. Most women, especially black women who having their first kid, don't even have a home to put the kid in. You don't have a house, you don't even have an apartment. Usually that stuff comes later and not even like right after. It doesn't even come 6 months after. It might come like 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 years later. So up until that point, that woman and that kid are just bouncing around. Hopefully she has family she can depend on, but that's how the cycle starts, a perpetual cycle that only leads to failure. So yes, and of all racial groups, right? You see how Asian people and white people tend to produce more successful children, but it's because the parents, right? The parents will not reproduce. It's like a cultural norm that as adults, we will not reproduce if we are not successful. Again, success is different for everybody, but most people within those two races understand if we are not successful, if we cannot have a solid foundation for our children, we will not reproduce. Hence why they're talking about birth rates are declining for the white people in America. I mean, that's because white men are, for the first time in history, not gainfully employed or making enough money to support a family. But I mean, it makes sense because throughout history, they have taken the route of, okay, we become successful first, then we reproduce for whatever reason. And I think it's mainly the idea of black women, but we can blame the Glocktaviuses and the Tyrones and the Pookies. We can blame them too, but black people have the mindset of, all right, it don't matter if I'm poor, it don't matter if I'm uh, God. It doesn't matter if I'm poor. It doesn't matter if I'm not successful. It doesn't matter if I don't have anything going on. It doesn't matter if I don't have anything to pass down to my children. Let's continue to have sex. Let's continue to push out more kids and let's see which one will stick against the wall. So let's push out 6 babies. Let's put them all through basketball, put them all in the football, and let's see which one becomes successful. I mean, that's not a good idea when you can just have one kid, create a solid foundation for them, and that one kid has a higher probability of becoming something successful in this world. And again, when I say success, I'm not talking about, oh, you're a celebrity, some millionaire, you done created the next electric vehicle or something like that. I'm just talking about somebody who has a fairly good career. You make high 5 figures, 6 figures. You were able to buy a home. You got a vehicle. If you want to travel, you can travel. Like, that's just simple success. Again, if I mean, everybody's success is different depending on your upbringing, but from from the standpoint of Asian and white people, right? If you were already successful before you had a kid, your kid grew up in a happy, loving, and an environment where you don't have to struggle. You're not eating oodles and noodles, porks and beans, and heavy amounts of pork and all types of unhealthy eating. What I'm saying? You didn't grow up struggling. Kids from those backgrounds, again, you're exposed to your parents' success. So your parents live in a nice neighborhood where you have children coming from healthy and stable backgrounds, same way as you, 2-parent households. I mean, when you grow up and you want to achieve your own level of success, it's going to be obviously higher than what your parents had, because what your parents had is considered normal for you. It might not have been normal for your parents, but it was normal for you, which means you're going to shoot high for what your parents had. So if your parents had uh it was a small house, but it was a nice house in a good neighborhood, you might aim just to have a bigger home. If they had one car, you might aim to have two cars. You know what I'm saying? If you was the only child, you might aim to have two or three children. You know what I'm saying? So it's just something simple like that. But then let's move on to the fact that she also mentioned that the mothers, you got these daughters that become these IG thoughts. Listen, the reality is now, when I started high school 12, 13 years ago, listen, back in like 2012, 2013, 2014, listen, girls were crying. They were writing suicide notes. They were writing Instagram sad stories. You know what I'm saying? Because at the time, yeah, if you ask a girl for a nude or a video, yeah, she'll send it to you. But the whole idea of exposing somebody, man, that was corny back then. You know what I'm saying? So guys got so, and I think that's where it started, right? In the 2010s, it was the dichotomy of, oh, men versus women, and the men were exposing women. I don't know why, but you know, the men were exposing women, and women became more they became more sheltered is the bad word, but let's just say they became more recluse and sending out news and videos because they knew that men were exposing. And again, 10, 12, 13 years ago, if a girl got exposed, man, listen, it was the end of the world. Suicide notes. She's on high alert at home because she's taking all types of medication. Girls are like slitting their wrists and stuff like that, man. It was crazy. But the idea of being a 304 back then, or being known as a 304 back then, it wasn't cool. There was no 10.99 for a picture. Subscribe to my OnlyFans for a picture. Subscribe to my Fansly for a picture. No, now 2025, or really since 2020 for real, now it's old because girls always been selling pussy, but it just wasn't a cool thing to do. Now, man, the average girl, when she turns 18, the first thing she's doing is creating an OnlyFans account. Or if not that, she's going straight to the strip club. Like, it's so different nowadays. But yeah, man, I remember back in the day, man, listen, you will see girls on Instagram, and it became a thing where, like, yeah, she's in a two-piece, underwear, strawberry shortcake, underwear set, or she's wearing like a bikini two-piece set, and then she'll go on Instagram, take a picture in the bathroom, put the ass up on the counter, and now she's posting thirst traps. And then twerking became really big in the 2010s as well. So now you got twerk videos and everything like that. It's just insane. But the idea of being a 304 is now popularized, and the average black girl nowadays, she is a hoe. Like, it's no doubt about that. The average black girl today is now a Instagram thought. If not a full blown thought, she's like a halfway thought. And ain't no, and what was in the words of Jay-Z, ain't no such thing as halfway crooks. You know what I'm saying? But even with the guys, you know what I'm saying, you have the young men who want to become thugs. And I mentioned before in all of my Tyrone Pookie videos that the guys only choose to become thugs because the women have desire for those thugs. The women have affection and love for those thugs. The women would choose those thugs over the athlete in most cases, not all cases, but in most cases. And I think most of us can agree growing up. Listen, yeah, we knew the athletes, we knew the guys who were thugs, and the thugs got more love than the athletes. Even the guys who were star players on the football team or basketball team, the thugs got more love. I mean, it's been statistically proven that on average, gang members have more sexual partners than the normal guy. 92% of incarcerated black men have children, so that just goes to show. Well, listen, the majority of these thugs are reproducing with the women, and it's been also proven that between 18 and 29, only 25.9, rounded up to 26% of black men are having children. 18 to 29. So that 26% are the thugs. You know what I'm saying? And from 18 to 25, 77% of the women who will ever become children are having kids. So when you want to factor in 26 to 29, right, that 77% will automatically shoot up to at least 85. At least 85%. So by the time as a black man, right, let's say you did go to college, or let's say right out of high school, you went and got you a trade, right? Trade school lasts maybe like 2 to 3 years, depending on what you're doing. Excuse me. So you went and got you a trade. You went to college for 4 years, right? Now you're in your field. You're working your way up. Maybe you might bounce around to different companies to get paid more money, right? But let's say by the time, because for the most part, you don't really start making, good money until if you've been in the field long enough, 5 plus years, right? You're now making money, let's say high five figures, 75,000, 80,000. Maybe you hit 30, 32, 31, 35. Now you're making 120, 150,000. And you don't really start making the big boy money until later on in your life, really after your 20s, man. You're like early to mid to late 30s, maybe even 40s for some guys, right? But let's just say, for the sake of the conversation, by 32 years old, you're now making 125,000. You got enough money saved up. You have enough money to put a down payment on a home, or you can get like a 2 bedroom apartment in a very nice area. You have a paid off vehicle. You're in a perfect position in order to have a family and take care of that family, and set a solid foundation for them. By that point in your life, at 32 years old, there are no more black women for you to pick from. From 26 to 29, right? The remaining black women from the 77% who didn't have children, they've already had children by Tyrone. By Tyrone. And I told you guys also that the 26%, it goes up to 60% after 30. But by the time you hit 30 and you're actually making enough money to take care and support a family, by that point, you don't have any options to pick from. You can't throw a rock in a ocean without hitting a black woman that already has kids. Even I can speak for myself. When I was 18, one of the first women I had real interest in was a single mom. And I can still say to this day, I follow her on my Instagram page. Till this day, she is still top 5, one of the most attractive women I've ever met, already have a kid. Even some of the most attractive women I've dated in my life, all have children now. All of them, like literally, maybe except for one, but the rest of that same top 5 all have children. And I'm 26, and no female I've dated is over 30 yet, but they're all max 26, low end 24, and only one does not have a child. So listen, as a man, how many single moms do you have to meet before you come across a quote unquote attractive, right? Attractive, smart, right? A black woman that has some means to herself. Let's say she does have a good education. She has a few degrees, a great career, her own place, a car. She's slim and attractive, no kids. How many black women do you have to meet? And that's not even factoring attitude and behave and all that other stuff, mindset. How many do you have to meet before you finally find one that meets your physical requirements? Just the physical requirements, dude. Just to find one with no children. And you're 32 years old as a man? No, thank you. No, thank you. And not to mention the fact that, again, let me go back to the fact of the young boys wanting to become thugs. Again, you already see how the majority of black young men are not bad people, but because you see the same love and affection and desire that the Pookies and the Tyrones get from the women, and you start to see it from young. Listen, some guys choose, I'm going that same pathway too. So the 25% of black men who are the thugs, I say, man, increase that to 40%, because, and I understand why guys do it. If you're telling me the only men the women go out their way to try and get are these thugs type of guys, but yet the thugs have 1, 2, 3, 4 kids. He has 4 kids and 3 baby mothers. I mean, if that's the only way as a black man you can pass down your genes and reproduce and pass on your lineage, carry on your last name. Well, listen, if that's what I have to do, I can't blame black men for doing it. I don't agree with it. I don't think you should take that route. I think if you I think if you become conscious of that reality, that's when you make the decision. Listen, I'm going to get with a non-black woman. Because at that point, you realize you can't keep fighting that downhill battle of, oh man, my black queen. Oh man, I want black children. And you realize that most black men who have children don't even grow up to be in their children's life. And it's not by choice. Usually it's by force because the woman pushes the man away. Yeah, you do have some deadbeats, but in most cases, the women don't want to have a man. They're strong and independent. They just need the man to bust in them so they can have kids. Or you can go to the Ebony K. Williams route. If that's her last name, you can go to Ebony K route and go and get in vitro. No, thank you, dude. No, thank you. So that's the reality for black people within our community. And again, the black women, they're a special kind of stupid because they support this stuff. They support the Democratic Party, giving them all these damn benefits to keep reproducing, having a child or children with no father in their life, to keep reproducing and furthering the perpetual cycle of black poverty. Well, of course that you're going to keep having poverty. Yeah, you can say the men aren't gainfully employed, but the men who are siring the children don't even have jobs. They have criminal backgrounds. And the matter of fact, it's 2.4 million black men in America that make, I think, either high five figures or over $100,000 and over $100,000 a year. But most of those men don't have children. But the women talk about, oh, I want a man that has money, but the men that have the money don't have children. If you guys ever noticed this, I've noticed it myself. Even these Tyrones, these Pookies, these Tyrones who go to prison for, they go to prison for 5, 10 years. These guys come out of prison and still have more children. Man, just know as a black man, if you're responsible, if you don't fit the negative stereotype of being a criminal, dreadlock, pants sagging, gun toting, tattooed up devil, right? Just know you're not gonna have children by a black woman, and if you do, you're gonna be a stepdad. The reality is that for a black man, if you do have children with a black woman, there is a 50 to 60% chance your first child will be her second or third child, because there is a 60 to 70% chance a black woman's second child comes from a different man. And the fact that the 25% of black men who are fathers between 18 and 29, after 30 years old, the number shoots up to 60, right? Which is like what, a 45% increase, which shows that the men are choosing to become stepdads because that's the only way you can have a child. And if pretty much of the selection of women who become mothers, right? If already 85% of the women or 85% of the women who already became mothers, right? If that's what's only available to you, dude, that means your only option, like I said, you can't throw a rock in the ocean without hitting a black woman who is a mother already. So to find a black woman that you're attracted to, right? And that's why I talk about things being equally yoked, or as the church would say, equally yoked. But but that's what I'm saying. When you get with a black woman, she's not looking to get with you when things are equally yoked. You're young, she's young, she's attractive, she's slim. You know what I'm saying? You're on your way to finishing college, you're on your way to making more money in your career. Things cannot be equally yoked like that. She has to be fat. She has to be ugly. She has to be carrying baggage from other men, consumer debt, student loan debt, you know what I'm saying, bad credit, disease. Like you can't get a good deal. And that's why I tell black men, listen, by the time you become conscious of all of this stuff, and it's better you become conscious sooner than later, listen, you can make the decision, all right, I'm going with these bunnies. You feel me? I'm going to get me a snow bunny. As a black man, listen, it's a surplus of it's a surplus of white women out there for you to pick from, and a white woman that you can meet who is childless. She's slim, attractive, right? Childless, slim, and attractive. Just those three things alone, because white women, they do go to college, they might have college debt, they might have some consumer debt, but just childless, slim, and attractive are three things you will not get from the majority of black women. So to find a woman of another race, right, who is childless, slim, and attractive, you have a higher probability and willing to give you a good deal.